Have you ever had your entire day ruined by something that took only a few seconds to happen? Maybe it was a careless comment. Maybe someone looked at you the wrong way. Maybe a rude message showed up on your phone before breakfast. The moment itself was small, but somehow it stayed with you. You kept replaying it in your head. The conversation ended, but the feeling didn't. I've learned that most people don't lose control because life is hard. They lose control because they give too much power to what happens around them. The calmest people I know aren't lucky. They don't have fewer problems. They simply understand something most of us learn the hard way. You can't control other people, but you can control what you do next. And that choice changes everything. Today's story is about a man named Thomas, someone who spent years carrying pain that wasn't helping him, protecting him, or moving him forward. And it all begins with one simple question. What if the weight you've been carrying all this time was never yours to carry in the first place? Thomas wasn't a bad person. He worked hard, cared about people, and tried his best. But there was one thing that made his life harder than it needed to be. He reacted to everything. If someone criticized him, he couldn't stop thinking about it. If someone insulted him, he carried those words for days, sometimes weeks. A single negative comment could follow him everywhere. In his mind, every hurtful experience became a stone. Every insult, every disappointment, every betrayal. And without realizing it, he kept picking up those stones and putting them into an invisible backpack he carried everywhere he went. At first, the weight didn't seem like much, but over time, it became exhausting. The more stones he collected, the heavier his life felt. He stopped noticing good things. He stopped enjoying simple moments. His mind was always busy carrying old pain. Looking back, that's how it works for many. The real damage often isn't what someone said or did. It's what happens when we keep carrying it long after the moment is gone. A painful experience may last a minute, but if we hold on to it for years, we're the ones turning 1 minute of pain into a lifetime of weight. One day, Thomas felt so tired of everything that he decided to leave his village for a while. He thought maybe some time alone would clear his mind. So he started walking up a mountain trail behind the village. The air was fresh, the sky was clear, but none of it seemed to help because he was still carrying the same heavy burden inside. Along the way, he met an old merchant. The man looked thin and simple, yet somehow he walked with an ease Thomas hadn't felt in years. The merchant noticed Thomas struggling and immediately looked at the large bag on his back. Curious, he asked what he was carrying. Thomas explained that the stones inside represented every insult, every harsh word, and every painful memory he had collected over the years. The old man listened carefully without interrupting. Then he smiled in a way that made Thomas feel seen. Sometimes that's all it takes. Someone helping us realize what we've become used to carrying. The truth is, people can get so familiar with emotional pain that it starts to feel normal. We carry it for so long that we stop questioning it. We stop asking whether it still belongs in our lives. And eventually, we mistake the burden for part of who we are. That's exactly where Thomas found himself that day on the mountain. The old merchant bent down and picked up 2 small stones from the side of the path. He placed one on the ground and handed the other to Thomas. Then he said something Thomas would never forget. He pointed to the stone on the ground and said, "This is what other people do. Their words, their actions, their behavior." Then he pointed to the stone in Thomas's hand. "This is your reaction." Thomas stood there quietly, looking at the 2 stones. The merchant continued, "The person who hurt you has already moved on. They said what they said and kept walking. They're not carrying this anymore. You are." That hit Thomas hard because deep down he knew it was true. For years he had blamed other people for the weight he felt, but now he realized something uncomfortable. The insults weren't following him anymore. The arguments weren't following him anymore. The people weren't following him anymore. Yet he was still carrying them everywhere he went. Not because they forced him to, because he chose to hold on to them. The merchant wasn't saying hurtful things don't matter. They do. Some words can cut deep. Some moments leave scars. But the real question is, what happens after that? Do you keep reliving it? Do you keep replaying it? Do you keep giving it space in your mind long after it's over? That's where the real burden begins. The old man smiled and said, "Your reaction is your burden, not what happened, not what they said, not what they did. The burden is what you decide to carry after the moment has passed." And honestly, that's a lesson most people spend their whole lives trying to learn. For a long moment, Thomas didn't say anything. Then he slowly opened the bag on his back. One by one, he started taking the stones out. Some were small, some were heavy. Some had been there for so long he almost forgot where they came from. As each stone touched the ground, something inside him changed. His shoulders felt lighter. His breathing slowed down. The tightness in his chest started to fade. It wasn't magic. His problems didn't disappear overnight. But for the first time in years, he wasn't adding more weight to his life. He was finally putting some of it down. And that's when he noticed something surprising. The mountain was beautiful. The sky seemed brighter. The air felt fresh. None of those things were new. They had been there all along. He just couldn't see them while carrying so much emotional weight. That's what happens when we hold on to anger, resentment, and old pain for too long. We become so focused on what hurt us that we stop noticing what's still good. Letting go doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean people were right to hurt you. It simply means you're done punishing yourself for something someone else did. That's not weakness. In fact, it takes far more strength to let go than it does to stay angry. Anyone can carry a grudge. Real strength is knowing when to put it down and keep moving forward. After that day, Thomas started using the merchant's lesson in real life. Not once, not twice, every single day. Whenever someone spoke to him with anger, he stopped for a moment before reacting. When someone criticized him unfairly, he took a breath instead of firing back. And, before carrying the hurt with him, he asked himself one simple question: do I really want to carry this? Most of the time, the answer was no. Not because he suddenly stopped caring, but because he finally understood the cost. Every insult he carried stole a little of his peace. Every argument he replayed stole a little of his energy. Every grudge took up space that could have been used for something better. Over time, this became a habit. He learned that not every comment deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves his attention. Not every problem deserves a place in his heart. And honestly, that's something all of us can practice. The next time someone upsets you, don't react immediately. Pause. Take a slow breath. Ask yourself, will this matter next week? Next month? Next year? If the answer is no, maybe it doesn't deserve another minute of your peace. Let it stay with the person who created it. Put the stone down, then keep walking. Your journey is too important to spend carrying things that were never meant to belong to you. Before Thomas left the mountain, the old merchant shared one final piece of advice. It wasn't complicated. It didn't require special skills or years of training. In fact, it only took about a minute. He told Thomas that every night before going to sleep, he should sit quietly and think about the heaviest moment from his day. Maybe someone said something rude. Maybe something didn't go as planned. Maybe there was a disappointment he couldn't stop thinking about. then he should imagine that moment as a stone in his hand, not a memory, not a problem, just a stone, something he could choose to hold or choose to put down. The merchant told him to take a slow breath and quietly say, "This stone is not mine. I release it." Then imagine placing that stone on the ground and walking away from it. Thomas started doing this every night. Some nights the stone was small, other nights it felt huge. But little by little, he noticed something changing. He slept better. His mind felt quieter. The things that once stayed with him for days started losing their grip. And honestly, that's something many of us need. We spend so much time carrying things we can't change. We replay conversations. We revisit mistakes. We hold on to words that should have been left behind long ago. The truth is, peace doesn't come from getting everyone else to behave differently. It doesn't come from winning every argument or proving every point. Real peace begins when you stop picking up stones that were never yours to carry in the first place. At its heart, this story was never really about Thomas or a bag full of stones. It's about all of us. Every day, life gives us reasons to feel frustrated, hurt, disappointed, or angry. That's part of being human. We can't control what people say. We can't control how others act. We can't control every situation we face. But we always have a choice about one thing. We get to decide what we carry forward. That's the lesson Thomas learned on the mountain. And it's a lesson worth remembering every single day. The things that happen to us matter, but the things we keep carrying matter even more. So before we finish, I'd like to ask you something. What stone are you still carrying today? Is it an old argument, a painful memory, someone's opinion of you? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Sometimes the first step toward letting go is simply being honest about what we're holding. And if this story helped you see your emotions in a different way, please subscribe to Quiet Growth Lab. This channel is all about powerful life lessons, meaningful stories, and practical wisdom that can help you become stronger, calmer, and more resilient one day at a time. Every video is created to help you grow, not just in success, but in peace of mind as well. Thank you for spending these moments with Quiet Growth Lab. I truly appreciate your time, because time is one thing we can never get back. Until next time, walk a little lighter, protect your peace, and remember this: not every stone deserves a place in your backpack. Keep moving forward, one calm step at a time.